कि किस प्रकार उन बच्चों ने संत तुकाराम का अपमान किया और ये सब कहकर महादेव संत तुकाराम से गन्ने की मांग करता है। संत तुकाराम थोड़े से निराश हो जाते हैं, पर वो महादेव को कहते हैं कि तुम जाओ, मैं देखता हूँ और गन्ने लेकर आता हूँ। ये छोटा सा प्रसंग तुकाराम महाराज के मन में बड़ा गहरा घाव कर देता है। अपने परिवार की जिम्मेदारियां ठीक से पूरी न कर पाने पर वो बहुत चिंतित होते हैं और कुछ काम या व्यवसाय की खोज में निकल पड़ते हैं।
अरे शाम्या, वो माल अंदर रखवा दिया क्या? हाँ तो जी, कब का रखवा दिया था?
शाम्या को काम दिया मतलब पूरा ही होता है।
अरे धन्यवाद। क्या रे तू क्या, कहाँ चला?
निकला कुछ उद्योग धंधा देखने। अगर आपके पास कुछ काम हो तो फिर अच्छा होगा।
देखा शाम्या, ये धंधा करने निकला तो फिर हुआ कल्याण। हाँ, एक काम है, पूछा नहीं कौन सा? अरे वही भीख मांगने का।
ठीक है, 4 मिनट।
क्या? भिक्षा? भिक्षा पाप अवलंबने जनो जिनेला जिरवाणे। संसार में भिक्षा नामक पाप स्वीकारना मानो लज्जात्मक जीवन जीने जैसा है।
रुको तो होगा, मैं तुम्हें काम देता हूँ और हाँ, इस काम से तुम्हारा भजन में कोई बाधा नहीं आएगी।
पांडुरंग हरि, आपका बहुत उपकार होगा ज्ञान बा। मानो ईश्वर स्वयं आपके रूप में मेरी मदद करने आया हो।
ऐसा मत कहो, मैं ईश्वर नहीं। बस बात ऐसी है कि मैं 3 दिन बगल वाले गांव जा रहा हूँ। तुम मेरे खेत की रखवाली करना, रोज सांझ में वापस आ जाऊंगा। फिर जो तुम्हारा काम का बनता है वो दे दूंगा। खेत पर इतना उधार हो गया है ज्ञानबा कि एक बार ताल बजाते बैठ गया और जानवर आकर खेत का सत्यानाश कर गए, तब भी कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा इस मूर्ख पर। मैं तो अपने हिस्से का नहीं छोड़ूंगा, निश्चित ही है। उसकी चिंता तुम मत करो, तुम्हें तुम्हारा हिस्सा मिल जाएगा। चलो तुकोबा।
और ये कहकर ज्ञानबा तुकोबा को अपने खेत लेके चलते हैं और आगे।
तुकोबा, ये देख अपनी खेती, इस बरगद के पेड़ से लेकर उधर बिल्कुल उस आम के पेड़ के नीचे तक सारी अपनी खेती है। चलो निकलता हूँ, ध्यान रखना अच्छे से।
और इस तरह तुकाराम महाराज को समझाकर ज्ञानबा दूसरे गांव चले जाते हैं। तुकाराम महाराज खेत की रखवाली करते करते कीर्तन भी करते हैं।
वृक्ष वल्ली आमा सोयरी वनचरे पक्षी सुस्वरे आयवीति। पक्षी सुस्वरे आयवीति। वृक्ष वल्ली आमा सोयरी वनचरे।
इस तरह एक दिन बीत जाता है। ज्ञानबा बगल वाले गांव से वापस आ जाता है। तुकाराम महाराज की खेत की रखवाली बहुत अच्छे से होती है और फिर ज्ञानबा उनसे मिलते हैं।
वाह तुकोबा, बहुत अच्छे से संभाला है खेत को। सांझ होने आई है, अब आप घर जाओ। बस एक शर्त, ये थोड़ा सा अनाज दे दीजिए।
अनाज के लिए शुक्रिया। आपके पास से कुछ गन्ने मिल सकते हैं तो अच्छा होगा।
ये अनाज रख लो, गन्ने भी देता हूँ, ये लो।
इस प्रकार एक दिन का काम खत्म होता है। तुकाराम महाराज कंधे पर झोला, हाथों में गन्ना लिए अपने घर की ओर रवाना हो जाते हैं। महादेव की खुशी का मन ही मन अनुमान लगाकर तुकाराम महाराज के चेहरे पर एक मधुर मुस्कान होती है। लेकिन किसी की खुशी किसी के लिए दुख का कारण बन जाती है। देखिए।
तोबे जी, अभी देख कर आ रहा हो कैसे ये तुका लोगों को खेत में जमा करता है और मूर्ख लोग उसकी टाल पर डोलते रहते हैं। बस हुआ, कुछ तो तरकीब लगानी पड़ेगी। तरकीब है ना?
कल तुका खेत में जाएगा और जैसे वो ताल बजाने बैठा उसके कीर्तन में खो गया, उसी क्षण हम जानवर छोड़ देंगे तो फिर हुआ कल्याण खेत और तुका का।
वाह शाम्या, क्या तरकीब लगाई है। मेरे साथ रहकर मेरी तरह तुम्हारी बुद्धि भी तेज चलने लगी है।
तेज बुद्धि आपकी तरह? वो तो है।
तो कल सवेरे तुका खेत में आने के बाद मजा आएगा।
काम के दूसरे दिन तुकाराम महाराज ज्ञानबा की खेत की रखवाली करने जाते हैं। एक पेड़ के नीचे बैठकर वो कीर्तन गाना शुरू करते हैं और उसी में मग्न हो जाते हैं। फिर उसी समय तोपे और शामा कुछ जानवरों को खेत में छोड़ देते हैं। जानवर खेत की सारी फसलों को बर्बाद कर देते हैं, जिससे भारी नुकसान हो जाता है। और उसी समय ज्ञानबा पहुंचकर ये सब देख लेते हैं। अब आगे।
अरे तुका उठ, ध्यान कहाँ है तेरा? देख देख मेरे खेत की क्या हालत हुई है। जानवरों ने सारा अनाज खाकर खेत खराब कर दिया है। तुम्हारा ध्यान कहाँ था?
जानवर, पर ये सब खेत में कैसे?
देखा ज्ञानबा, इस मूर्ख को काम लगाकर अपने खेत का खुद के ही हाथों नुकसान कर दिया। पर मुझे मेरा खंड पूरा चाहिए, किसी के बाप को नहीं छोड़ूंगा।
मैं भी इसके बाप को नहीं छोड़ूंगा, सारा वसूली करके लूंगा, देखना।
अरे इसके पास क्या मिलेगा? इसका सारा घर छान मारा तो मूंगफली के तो दाने नहीं मिलेंगे।
पर घर तो है, अभी लिखित कराता हूं।
खेत के नुकसान भरपाई हेतु ज्ञानबा तुकाराम का घर अपने नाम पर लिखित करवा लेते हैं और तुकाराम को ये चेतावनी देते हैं कि जब तक सारे नुकसान की भरपाई नहीं हो जाती तब तक तुकाराम महाराज का घर उनके नाम पर ही रहेगा। 6 महीने बीत जाते हैं। प्रकृति का एक बहुत बड़ा चमत्कार हो जाता है। ज्ञानबा की खेती में 8 साल तक जितना अनाज नहीं उगता उतना अनाज 6 महीने की फसल में आ जाता है। ये देखकर सब लोग आश्चर्यचकित हो जाते हैं।
इतना सारा अनाज, चमत्कार। ज्ञानबा, मुझे तो अपनी आंखों पर विश्वास ही नहीं हो रहा है। इतना अनाज तो 7-8 वर्ष में भी कभी नहीं हुआ और तुम्हें कुछ ही महीनों में हो गया। भगवान का कोई तो चमत्कार होगा। ये क्या, तुम्हारे चेहरे पर ना आश्चर्य ना खुशी?
मुझसे बहुत बड़ा अपराध हुआ है। तुकाराम को मैंने क्या कुछ नहीं बोला। उस पर भगवान ने ही प्रसन्न होकर ये कृपा की है। इसमें से 20 बोरी अनाज के अलावा बाकी सारा अनाज तुकाराम का ही बनता है।
ऐसा थोड़ी होता है, तुम अपनी मनमानी नहीं कर सकते।
तुम्हें तुम्हारे हिसाब का मिलेगा, बाकी सबका मैं कुछ भी करूं, मेरी मर्जी। किसी ने जानवर छोड़कर अच्छा ही काम किया है।
क्या मतलब कि जानवर मैंने छोड़े?
मैंने ऐसा कब कहा? यह अनाज लेकर मैं अभी के अभी तुकाराम से माफी मांगने उसके घर जा रहा हूं।
ज्ञानबा तुकाराम महाराज के घर माफी मांगने जाते हैं। फिर देखते हैं आगे क्या हुआ।
तुकाराम, चमत्कार हुआ है।
हाँ, मुझे गांव वालों से पता चला है ज्ञानबा।
ये सब आपकी ही कृपा है। मैंने आपको क्या कुछ नहीं कहा। आपका घर अपने नाम किया। मुझे क्षमा करना। मैं आपका घर आपके नाम वापस करता हूँ और ये सारा अनाज अब आपका ही है।
क्षमा मत मांगो ज्ञानबा, मेरी भी लापरवाही थी। घर वापस करने के लिए धन्यवाद। और रही बात इस अनाज की, तो ये आपके खेत का है, मेरा इस पर कोई अधिकार नहीं।
आपका इस अनाज को स्वीकार करना ही अब मेरा प्रायश्चित का मार्ग है।
अगर ऐसा ही है तो मेरी आपसे एक विनंती है। एक बोरी अनाज छोड़कर बाकी मेरे हिस्से का सारा अनाज आप उन गरीबों में बांट दीजिए जो दिन भर भूख के कारण लोगों के घर भटकते रहते हैं।
और इस तरह ब्राह्मण टोपे और श्यामा की तुकाराम महाराज को बदनाम करने की साजिश भगवान बेकार कर देते हैं और तुकाराम महाराज की ख्याति और बढ़ जाती है। तो बोलिए संत तुकाराम महाराज की जय।
फिर अगले कुछ दिनों तक देहू में बहुत ही भक्तिमय वातावरण होता है। सब लोग तुकाराम महाराज के अभंग याद करते हैं और उससे भक्ति का काफ़ी प्रचार होता है। एक पूजा के हेतु देहू में एक बहुत बड़े विद्वान पधारते हैं जिनका नाम रामेश्वर पंडित होता है। देखते हैं आगे।
चार गांव वालों और तोपे के साथ रामेश्वर शास्त्री जी का देहू गांव में आगमन होता है। रामेश्वर शास्त्री अपने समय के बहुत बड़े ब्राह्मण पंडित थे। अब देखते हैं आगे।
रामेश्वर शास्त्री की जय। रामेश्वर शास्त्री की जय।
वैदिक ज्ञान से संपन्न रामेश्वर शास्त्री जी का देहू गांव की ओर से मैं सहर्ष स्वागत करता हूँ।
लगता है तुकाराम ने गांव में अच्छा दबदबा बना लिया है। अब मैं आ रहा था और गांव में हर कोई तुका बोले कर रहा था।
वेदों का गलत ज्ञान देकर वो गांव को गुमराह कर रहा है।
अगर ऐसा है तो ये बहुत गलत हो रहा है और इसका सारा खामियाजा आप भुगतने वाले हैं। आपने उसके विरोध में कुछ किया क्यों नहीं?
मुझे खेद है, लेकिन अब इन रामेश्वर शास्त्री जी से मेरा यही प्रार्थना है, दंड अन्याय से माथा देखूनी करा सर्वथा, न्याय उगे बहुता गतु सोन्याचे शीश आतु, तोपे म्हणजे धर्म देव दोष कोणाचा तोडाव।
वाह, आपकी वाणी तो बहुत ही साहित्यिक लगती है।
इनकी आवाज बहुत मधुर, बहुत मधुर।
धन्यवाद। अब आपने मेरी प्रशंसा की है तो बोल देता हूँ। वो तुका मेरी कविताएं चुराकर भिखारी की तरह गांव में बांटा फिरता है। उसमें अपने वेदों की पागलपन भरी गलत व्याख्या करता है और यह मूर्ख गांव वाले उसकी प्रशंसा करते हैं।
तभी मैं आते वक्त सुन रहा था उसके वाणी की मिठास, शुद्ध शब्द योजना, निर्दोष काव्य रचना और मन भाव कर दे ऐसा प्रसाद हर कोई प्रसन्न हो जाए।
पर सबसे खेद की बात, गांव के बड़े बड़े बुद्धिजीवी ब्राह्मण उसके चरणों में सिर झुकाते हैं।
क्या ये तू क्या ब्राह्मण से सर झुकवाता है?
हाँ, यही नहीं और बहुत कुछ है।
तोपे की बातों में आकर रामेश्वर शास्त्री तुका को सजा दिलवाने बुलाते हैं। अब आगे।
दूर से मुझे तुम जैसा अधर्म से दूर से क्या प्रणाम ही नहीं चाहिए।
अधर्म? कौन सा अधर्म किया मैंने?
भक्ति मार्ग का प्रचार करने के लिए तुम कर्म मार्ग का उल्टा अर्थ बता रहे हो और शर्म नहीं आती? मुंह उठाकर बात करते हो। भगवान के नाम का मात्र का ढोंग रचने वाले तुम महापापी हो।
भक्ति मार्ग और कर्म मार्ग, परमेश्वर प्राप्ति के ये दो अलग मार्ग हैं। एक सीधा है तो एक कठिन। ईश्वर को पूर्ण समर्पण करना ये एक, और वो ना हो तो ईश्वर को प्रसन्न करने हेतु उसकी पूजा अर्चा और अपना शरीर ईश्वर सेवा में लगाना, यही भागवत धर्म का सिखाता है।
पर ये तो वेदों से भिन्न है।
हमारे वेद भागवत धर्म का ही विस्तार है। जिसे आप निराकार पूर्ण ईश्वर मानते हो उसे हम सकार, ओमकार, पांडुरंग कहकर बुलाते हैं।
नहीं, मैं अब तुमसे कुछ नहीं सुनना चाहता। तुम ब्राह्मण नहीं हो। तुमने वेदवाणी का गलत उच्चारण कर और लोगों का उसका गलत अर्थ बताकर वेदों का अपमान किया है और अधर्म किया है। इसी कारण तुम दंडपात्री हो। इसलिए अब मेरी ये आज्ञा है कि तुम आगे अभंग कविता नहीं करोगे, कभी नहीं।
अब तक पांडुरंग मेरे मुंह से ये पागलपन भरे शब्द बोल रहा था और आप मेरे लिए पांडुरंग के समान हो। मैं आपकी आज्ञा स्वीकार करता हूँ।
तो अब तक की गई अभंग का क्या?
हाँ, तुमने अब तक पापी हाथों से जो भी कविताएं लिखी है उन्हीं उसी हाथों से इंद्रायणी के पात्र में बहा दो।
पांडुरंग पांडुरंग, जैसे आपकी आज्ञा।
इस प्रकार तोपे की बातों में आकर रामेश्वर शास्त्री बिना तुकाराम महाराज के ज्ञान को परखे उन्हें दोषी ठहराते और उनके अभंग को इंद्रायणी में बहाने का दंड देते हैं। तुकाराम महाराज रामेश्वर शास्त्री की आज्ञा का पालन कर अपने अभंगों की पुस्तिका को इंद्रायणी की ओर बहाने निकल पड़ते हैं। और आगे,
हे ईश्वर, आपने अपने भक्त को निराशा में डाल दिया। मैं घर की परवाह छोड़ दिन रात तेरा नाम लेता रहा। अपने परिवार को अंतहीन कष्टों में मैंने डाला और तूने मुझे ये फल दिया। तुम सर्वशक्तिमान हो। जिस तरह से मैं तुम्हारी प्रशंसा करता हूँ वह शायद तुम्हें पसंद नहीं आई होगी, पर मैं किसी और चीज में अच्छा भी नहीं हूं। इसके अलावा मैं अपनी भक्ति कैसे व्यक्त कर सकूंगा? अब तुम्हें निर्णय लेना होगा। पांडुरंग।
इंद्रायणी में पुस्तिका बहाने के बाद इंद्रायणी नदी के तट पर एक एक कर 12 दिन बीत जाते हैं। तुकाराम महाराज निराश होकर अन्न जल का त्याग कर देते हैं। फिर 13वां दिन आता है और 13वें दिन एक बड़ा चमत्कार होता है। बहा दिए हुए अभंग इंद्रायणी नदी खुद तुकाराम महाराज को वापस ला कर देती है। रामेश्वर शास्त्री को अपने गलती का एहसास होता है और वो अपने गलती का प्रायश्चित करने के लिए तुकाराम महाराज से माफी मांगता है और उनके चरणों में गिर पड़ता है। अब आगे,
ये क्या कर रहे हो?
तुकाराम का मूल्य समझने के लिए आपको योग्य होना होगा। तुम यह कभी नहीं समझोगे। तुकाराम, मुझे क्षमा करना। माझी मज आली रोकडी प्राचित होऊनी फजित दुख पाया, तुका सर्वश्रेष्ठा प्रिय अम्मा थोर कहा ये अवतार नाम आता। तुकाराम, मैंने आपको समझने में गलती कर दी। संत तुकाराम की जय। पांडुरंग हरि, पांडुरंग हरि।
और इस तरह रामेश्वर शास्त्री को अपने किए पर पछतावा होता है। तुकाराम महाराज जी की ख्याति चारों ओर फैल जाती है। तुकाराम महाराज के अभंग घर घर में भक्ति मार्ग के प्रसार का बड़ा कारण बनते हैं।
तो इस तरह तुकाराम जी ने अपने जिंदगी में बड़े से बड़े कष्टों का सामना किया। उनका भगवान के प्रति अटूट विश्वास और उनकी कविता में छुपा जादू आज भी सबको प्रेरणा देता है।
मेरा भी कुछ इस तरह का है। उन्होंने हार नहीं मानी और आज मैं भी यहाँ पावन धरती देहू में हूँ। मैं भी हार नहीं मानूंगा। मुसीबतों का सामना हंसकर करूँगा और उन पे जीत हासिल करूँगा।
ये सब तो तभी हो सकता है जब भगवान का नाम हर एक बार तुम्हारे मुख पर हो, क्योंकि भक्ति और सदाचारी वही देते हैं। और डरो नहीं, विठ्ठला यही हमारे साथ परमात्मा में उपस्थित है।
बोल पुंडली कवर्दे हारी विठ्ठल, जय जय श्री तुकाराम पंढरीनाथ महाराज की जय।
कदम पर लगता है जैसे जिंदगी का साथ ही छूट गया हो। कुछ सही क्यों?
Hare Krishna. So this is a very wonderful drama then performed by our IOS worldly devotees. The names are Tukaram is acted by Nikhil Prabhu, Hari Bol. Tope Ram Prabhu, Hari Bol. Gyanva Sushil Prabhu, Rameshwar Shastri Yash Prabhu, Tope assistant Sumit Prabhu, Warkari Rohit Prabhu, then depressed boy Tarun Prabhu, first boy Vikhil Prabhu, second Vansh Prabhu, then Mahadev Tukaram son, Hare Krishna, Bal Krishna Prabhu, then Shubham Prabhu and Prathamesh Prabhu and Ritik Prabhu. So let us thank them by loudly chanting 3 times. And let us also pray that let us also become sincere like them and advance in devotional service. Jai Tukaram Maharaj ki. Hare Krishna. Now please do U-turn and tune into the real world. Hare Krishna.
नहीं चला तो दे दे। हरे कृष्ण। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना। यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरं। नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्या प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yonta pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptan sanjivayata kila shakti dhara swadhamna अन्यांश हस्तचरण श्रवणात्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं कथाञ्चना स्मृते यस्मिन् दुष्करं सुकरं भवेत् विस्मृते विपरीतं स्यात् श्रीचैतन्य नमामितम्।
Hare Krishna. So we welcome all of you today's wonderful Prerana festival. Today is 204th Prerana festival, and we are very fortunate by the grace, by the mercy of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath ji. We have with us His Grace Vraj Bihari Prabhu. Everyone knows Vraj Bihari Prabhu and they love him very much. For the newcomers, I am just giving his introduction. Vraj Bihari Prabhu is also known as Venugopal Acharya. He is a highly respected spiritual teacher, author and full-time monk at Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Mandir, ISKCON Chowpatty, where he has been serving for past 2.5 decades, 25 years last. He holds master's degree in monetary policy and international finance, as well as a major's degree in economics. He has a wealth of experience in corporate world, having worked with multinational companies such as KPMG, Pitt, Marwick and ICICI Bank after completing his MBA in finance. He is also a member of Temple Care Committee and Congregation Development at ISKCON Chowpatty, where he provides counseling to young men in the monastery and trains a satellite community of over 100 plus families in various parts of Mumbai. Vraj Bihari Prabhu is well known for his deep study in Vedic and contemporary history and for presenting his knowledge in a relevant and relatable way through life-enhancing seminars for corporates and students, both physically and online. He is particularly passionate about teaching Bhakti Yoga, a form of yoga that involves investing emotions and prayers. With over 1,000 plus articles on his website yogaformodernage.com and hundreds of talks on his YouTube channel, he continues to guide and inspire people across borders through his social media presence. He has authored 5 books, including Cricket in a Monastery. One of his books is Mind Your Mind, 3 Principles for Happy Living. Is a culmination of his daily study, writing, contemplation, and prayers over the last 20 years. In this book, he shares different tools to help people feel loved and improve their relationship with themselves and with those who matter to them. Additionally, his recent release, Lessons from the Road, shares insights from his deep study of Vedic scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. He is also a seasoned international speaker, having traveled and spoken in the USA, Australia, UK, Germany, Russia, and other parts of Europe and the Middle East. His candid thoughts on mental hygiene, spiritual discipline, and finding deep emotional fulfillment resonate with people from all walks of life. His lucid and cheerful talks harmonize wisdom from Vedic era to enhance modern lives. He often says, the principles of life are simple and same everywhere. Just apply your little and see the big difference. So we are very fortunate Prabhu has given his time. One more important thing I want to say about him is, whenever Prabhuji gives talk, it really touches the heart. The whole world is looking for the advent of Lord Ram, at Ayodhya. So whenever we hear his lectures on Ramayana, we can feel the Ram in the heart. We hear his lectures on Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Lord Nrsimhadev. So all the festival lectures on, he is a very, very wonderful speaker, gives wonderful lectures. So let us again welcome him by loudly chanting 3 times. Hari Bo, Hari Bo.
Hare Krishna. Oh, sorry. Jai Shri Ram. So day after tomorrow is the most auspicious day of the installation of Lord Ram's deity in Ayodhya Dham. So, and everybody is now saying Jai Shri Ram more than Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming on a Saturday evening. You could be doing so many things, but you have chosen to come here. I deeply appreciate on behalf of ISKCON Youth Services and Radha Gopinath Mandir. We welcome you, and this is a very relevant topic. I am going to speak on this for a few minutes. And this is going to be a very thought-provoking one. This is called Tune Into Real World. So today's agenda or what I want to share with you is that there is a reality beyond what we see. So there is a curtain. So behind the curtain there is something else. So today I beseech all of your attention, and please, with an open heart, understand a deeper reality that exists. And today we will explore that reality. And then as you see the child here, trust me, when we see reality from a metaphysical perspective, then the child within us will be awakened. You see how children see the world? There is freshness, there is innocence, there is curiosity. You've seen children? They have permanent impressions. So when we see reality like this, we will also feel the same purity, same innocence, and same freshness. So I invite you to this discussion. So you are ready? Yes? Thank you. Thank you for being enthusiastic. So okay, first let me ask you, so you don't have to give me deep philosophical answers, simple common sense answers. What is reality? Okay, is this reality? Simple, yes. What about this? This is also real. This watch is also real, right? Why do we say this is real? Sorry? Because we can see it, touch it, feel it. Basically what you're saying is, our senses can perceive it, so it is real. Simple. So the Vedic scriptures explain, yes, there is something called as physical reality. Physical reality means two things. The senses can perceive, either touch, smell, taste, see, like that. There's a second criteria. This is a physical reality because this has a beginning and this has an end. 100 years ago this did not exist. And from 100 years from now this may not exist in this shape. So anything which has a beginning and an end, that is what reality? Everybody is clear? Like for example, what is this body? Does this have a beginning? 51 years ago nobody knew me. Another 100 years from now nobody will care who came. When we see a building, a huge skyscraper building, wow, it had a beginning, it has an end one day. And if you see carefully, the physical reality is all pervading, right? Everywhere, it's physical reality. And we all want happiness. And we are searching for happiness where? In physical reality. And physical reality has a beginning and an end. So our happiness also has beginning and end. And Gita explains, those who seek happiness in physical reality, what is their situation? Yahi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate. Dukkha yonaya evate. They are guaranteed dukkha because they are trying to get happiness from objects of senses which can be contacted. What is the problem with this physical reality? Gita explains, Yai samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adi anta आद्यंतवंत कौंतेया नतेषु रमते बुधा. आदि और अंत है दोनों. This kind of happiness has a beginning and end. Therefore, Buddha, buddhiman vyakti, na ramante. He doesn't enjoy this. He is smart. He doesn't try to enjoy physical reality. He seeks something more. I'll give an example. How many of you travel by Western Railway? Okay, if you are traveling from Virar to south, what is the last station? So, this top, which station is this? Churchgate. 100 years ago. How do you like this? And which station is this? Virar? No. See, at least Churchgate, you can guess, right? Because it is still active. You know what is this station? You will be shocked. What is the last station in Western Railway? Churchgate, right? But 100 years ago, you know what was the last station? Kolaba. Kolaba was the last station. Now, I can say this with conviction also because my father was in railways. He was in a very senior post. And he used to take me, when I grew up at Cuff Parade, so he would take me on a Sunday sometimes for a walk towards that area. Now, of course, you can't recognize that place now because there are big buildings there. He would show me the remnants of those railway tracks. And he would tell me, son, this was the last station. Now imagine these people here. Where are they now? Where is this station? The whole landscape has changed, isn't it? This is physical reality. 100 years, everything is changing. Okay, this is interesting. In case you don't believe that Kolaba was the last station, I have another. This is a very interesting. Do you know this building? Rajabai Tower. Which ground is this? Oval Maidan. This is coming from Kolaba. This is the. Can you see this train? This is the train coming from Kolaba to Churchgate. It's on the way to Punjab. And what you see here, this is the Arabian Sea, where we have now HR College, Brabourne Stadium, Nariman Point, Mantralaya. What was that place earlier? Samudra Tabas, ocean. अभी क्या है? Building है. और आज से 100 साल बाद क्या होगा उधर? We don't know. See, I'll tell you this, one very interesting thing. In 2006, our Madan Gopal route took us for one yatra, IVS yatra to Dhanushkodi. Scary place. It's like the last point of India where Arabian Sea, Indian Ocean and Bay of Bengal meet. Huge. And Dhanushkodi, we had to walk many miles inside. And everywhere there's only water and sand. And you know, that was a flourishing town till 1964. One December evening, in 1964, as children were playing in the evening, as women were cooking at home, as men were reading newspapers and relaxing, listening to radio, suddenly there was a cyclone. And in a matter of minutes, the whole town vanished. And now there's only sand there. As we were leaving Dhanushkodi, I saw one remnants of a water tank as a symbol, as an indication that once this was a flourishing town. That's how physical reality is. My father, in his office in CST, he had kept a big photograph, 1883 and 1983, of CST, that road. And same photograph, same place. But in the second photograph, there were different people. First photograph, there were different people. I would keep looking at both photographs and say, what has happened? How time is so powerful. So this is what reality? Physical reality. So intelligent people, Gita says, do not seek happiness in this reality. Why? It has a beginning and end. But do you know something? Within all this physical reality, there is something that doesn't change. There is something which remains forever. There is something which has no beginning and no end, which is eternal. ऐसा भी कुछ है. Like, okay, body, all of you know this basic philosophy, body. Body के अंदर क्या है? Soul, Atma. Body will die, but Atma remains, right? We say this according to Gita. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavanam jara. For this body is temporary, but the soul is eternal. And because of this soul, the body is going through changes, right? We talk, we sleep, we dance, all of these things is because soul is there. Similarly, in this universe, sun is rising, sun is setting, rainy season is coming, winter has come. All the seasons are changing, trees are giving fruits, flowers are blossoming. That means just like this body has life because there is soul, this universe has life because this universe has also soul. कोई तो है जिसकी वजह से ये पूरा जिंदा है यूनिवर्स. And that soul is called Paramatma, super soul. आपको समझ में आ रहा है? It's not technical, right? So when this soul meets that soul, वो जो मिलन है, oh, that is metaphysical reality. That is a reality beyond this world because I don't die, right? आत्मा नहीं मरती है. And there is something eternal in this universe, cosmos also. So when they meet, that is a spiritual experience. और इस परमात्मा को अलग अलग ट्रेडिशंस में different names have been given. We say what? Krishna, Paramatma, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. There are other traditions which say force. Star Wars fan will say it's force. Super consciousness, cosmic consciousness. These are all the terms used for the super soul. That is the metaphysical reality. So, are you understanding what is the spiritual experience? What is the metaphysical reality? When the I, the soul, meets the super soul. Okay, I'll tell you one experience. See, one day I was sitting in hanging garden. This is not hanging garden photo, but just I was sitting under a banyan tree and I was doing meditation. I was chanting. After my chanting, I just sat. And suddenly I realized it was a state of knowing without knowing, in the sense, it is not knowing at the form of thoughts. It's a stage of knowing at the stage of feelings. I knew that this banyan tree has been there for a long time. So in one sense, the banyan tree is eternal. Not exactly, but compared to me, it is like 500 years old, that caretaker says. So if it is 500 years old, I suddenly felt there is something within me, the I, who is also very, very, very old, who doesn't die. And somehow I felt that I met the banyan tree who has also been there forever. And in that meeting, the joy I experienced, I cannot describe in words. I knew that it is beyond the senses. It was not a physical reality that I was in. I was in a metaphysical reality. I remember once in the hanging garden looking at the stars in the night. I was just sitting on the grass and looking at all the stars. And then next day I was in Perth, Western Australia. In 24 hours I traveled. And there in the bedroom I was sleeping at night and looking out of the window, I was again looking at all the stars. And suddenly I felt connected. I felt these are the same stars with whom I was spending the evening yesterday, and now they are here. I belong to this universe. I felt completely insignificant. I felt I am nobody. At the same time, I felt I am somebody very special. This is a paradox. This is a spiritual experience when we feel I am completely insignificant. At the same time, I belong to Krishna. When we do deity worship, this is what we feel. We feel totally insignificant. But generally in this world, people tell you, if you want to feel loved, you have to be somebody important. है ना? लोग ऐसा प्यार में क्या क्या करते हैं? I want to show that I love. One poet said a very nice thing. मोहब्बत मुकद्दर है कोई ख्वाब नहीं. मोहब्बत मुकद्दर है कोई ख्वाब नहीं. ये वो अदा है जिसमें हर कोई कामयाब नहीं. जिसे पनाह मिली उन्हें उंगलियों में गिन लो. अरे खत्म नहीं हुआ यार. मोहब्बत मुकद्दर है कोई ख्वाब नहीं. ये वो अदा है जिसमें कोई कामयाब नहीं. जिन्हें पनाह मिली उन्हें उंगलियों में गिन लो. जो बर्बाद हुए हैं उनका कोई हिसाब नहीं. So in this world, for love, people want to be somebody significant. But real love is experienced when you're insignificant, because you're connecting to a metaphysical reality. See, physical reality is experienced through what? Senses. Therefore, it has a beginning and end. Metaphysical reality is experienced through soul. Therefore, it has no beginning, no end. See, I explored this relationship because of an incident that happened with me. I was very fortunate. One day, after the Gaur Purnima festival, His Holiness Srila Radha Swami Maharaj took few brahmacharis on the terrace of the ashram. And he was pointing to the full moon. And he showed the full moon to us. And said, you see this full moon? We were all looking at it. And Maharaj kept looking at the full moon and then said, you know, this full moon was there 5,000 years ago when Krishna appeared on this planet. He was watching Shankaracharya come and preach. He was there when the Ram Mandir was broken down. He was there when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this planet. He was there when Shivaji Maharaj, Maharaj started explaining and again pointing to the moon. He's seen it all. And that experience I cannot describe. It was like I felt he was taking us to a higher dimension of reality, something which will never end. And that's a very, very important point. So spiritual experience, Krishna consciousness, what is all this? In simple words, it is about connecting to something that never ends, that never has a beginning. And you are that soul who needs to connect to that reality. You know, traditional spiritual programs, now of course it is different, but till recently, satsang program, spiritual program, Bhagavatam class meant what? It meant pushing people from physical reality to metaphysical reality. That's why in Bhagavatam there is a lot of scolding. Arey, uto, jago, ushthan, uttishtha, get up, wake up. Like Bhagavatam, Shukdev Goswami says, he gives a lot of gali in Bhagavatam. Shvavidvara ushtra khare samstuta parushap pashu nahat karana pato peto jatu nama gadagraja. Ye sumer, gade, unt, kutta. He is giving gali to the audience so that he is just wanting to shake them because you are absorbed in what reality? Physical reality. Physical reality absorption means what? You are eating, sleeping, having sex, you are defending yourself, you are living like an animal. Get up, wake up, understand there is an eternal reality. That is spiritual preaching. That is what Srila Prabhupada did, shaking people, telling them about this reality. But nowadays there is a big problem. We cannot shake people from physical reality to metaphysical reality because they are not living in physical reality also. They are living in virtual reality. So what do we do? Right? तो अभी क्या करें? अभी उनको गाली देंगे तो और रोएंगे वो. So now we have to give very pep talks, motivational talks, self-help. अच्छा अच्छा बोलो, मीठा मीठा बोलो. Because see, at least this is reality, although this is temporary, but at least it is real. But on your smartphone, when you see some images, smart device is real, physical reality. But उसके अंदर जो नाच गाना चल रहा है, वो क्या है? It doesn't have any basis. So virtual reality is a very, very real situation because of which people connecting to spiritual life, metaphysical reality has become a very far distant probability. आजकल तो लोग बस इसी में घूम रहे हैं, स्मार्टफोन लेके घूम रहे हैं बस. इंसान अगर फिसल के गिर जाए तो हंसी निकल जाती है. लोगों के हाथ से स्मार्टफोन गिर जाए तो जान निकल जाती है. तो बहुत इंटेंस है. You know, if nowadays the smartphone epidemic is it's so rampant. See, I also use a smartphone, so I'm not saying, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, let us be smart. Let us use it smartly. Let us not allow the smartphone to use us. Gen Z और Gen Alpha, अभी जो बच्चे हैं, उनके हाथ से स्मार्टफोन छीन लेना मतलब ICU पेशेंट के मुंह से ऑक्सीजन मास्क निकालने के जैसे. Oh, they get so agitated. I saw one father take the smartphone from his daughter's hand and the way she was agitated. I remember once in my class I was saying that जब हम छोटे थे प्रभु, हम लोग घर पे बाहर सोते थे, टेरेस में सोते थे. हम वहाँ सोना पसंद करते थे जहाँ चांद तारे दिखे. So that प्रभु जी said, प्रभु जी आज के बच्चे वहाँ सोना पसंद करते हैं जहाँ चार्जर लगा सके. That's how life has changed so much. But you ask yourself, when you see sunrise on your screen, sunset on your screen, when you see beautiful rain on your screen, and then you see real sunset, real sunrise, real rain, what gives you a more fulfilling experience? The physical reality is more fulfilling than virtual reality. Similarly, if we connect to something that doesn't die, then that metaphysical reality will give even more deeper experience. See, you know, if you see a dog on the street, just running, if you are present, mindful, just see that dog like a child sees, as if you are seeing it for the first time or the last time. If you are present and mindful, just seeing a dog on the street, that can entertain you more than the most exotic visual effects on your electronic screen, because that is real. See, I'll tell you one experience I had. You know, I have a lot of problems in Mumbai traffic. Like, I go for my walk sometimes in the evenings and mornings. You know, these horns, paw, paw, it irritates me. And outside my room, there is a crow which comes and constantly caws. Ka, 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 and that also irritates me. So I was very disturbed. So then I decided, okay, wait. Let me try something. I said, for the next 1 week, I did an experiment. Whenever I hear traffic horn as I'm walking, or whenever I'm in my room and I hear the crows cawing, instead of getting irritated, I will just pause and I will listen to that sound and look at the crow or the traffic as if I'm seeing it for the first time or the last time. As if after hearing this sound, my ears will be broken. Now this is the last time I'm hearing or the first time I'm hearing. I did that for 1 week. Whenever I heard this sound, I was just present, without judging. Observe without judging. I did that. And after 1 week, that problem just dissolved. Because I was connected to the reality, I was not troubled. I was not in my mind world. And also when we live in the physical reality, before we jump into the metaphysical, physical reality is a launching pad. But we can't be in virtual reality and jump to metaphysical reality. Are you getting it? Ground floor से second floor में जाना तो पहले first floor में आना पड़ेगा. See, when we are living in this reality and praying to Krishna, chanting, hearing Bhagavatam class, then there is a good chance that we will connect to that Lord within. I'll tell you one example. When I was in college, and I'm talking about 1991, 1992, we didn't have smartphones, mobile phones. I'll just give one example, one incident. Tell me how this incident would happen today. You are also going to college. I was also going to college in 1991. So one incident happened with me. If this incident happens with you today, you just see how you would react. So I and my friend decided we will meet at the Regal bus stop. From there, we decided to go to Rhythm House. There was a music shop where we would buy cassettes. Then we decided, we had already planned this the previous evening, that after Rhythm House, we will go to Indian Merchants Chamber, photocopy some articles, then go to my college library, and on the way, we will eat sandwiches at one place where we knew that we get sandwiches. So we made a plan like this. Simple, like all of you also make plans like this. I went. Next day morning at 10 o'clock, I was at the bus stop as we had planned. And during those days, we didn't have mobile phones, so we used to carry books, real books to read. Not Kindle, not iPad. So I had that book at the bus stop and was reading. And suddenly I realized, Arey, क्या हो गया? He has not come. जय श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की जय, निताय गौर चंद्र की जय, गोपाल जी की जय. So I saw, घड़ी देखा, 10:15 हो गया. अरे 15 मिनट हो गया, आया नहीं. I thought I'll wait. So I read one more chapter of the book. 10:20, I went to the PCO. I called his house. Nobody was picking up the phone. Then I called my house, asking my mom, did he call you? She said, no, he's not called me. So I went back to the bus stop and I stayed there for some more time reading another chapter. At 10:40, I realized, 40 minutes ho gaya, he may not come. And I trusted my intuition. I went to Rhythm House, brought the cassettes he wanted. Then I went to Indian Merchants Chamber. And then I said, no, I won't photocopy because I'll need his inputs. But I brought sandwiches for him. I assumed that he will come to the library. He may have got stuck somewhere. And then I went to the library with the sandwiches packed. And then after some time, he came there and we met. And we didn't make a big deal of it. He knew that I would have kept sandwiches for him. He was hungry. He ate that. And then we went to Indian Merchants Chamber, photocopied. We didn't talk about it for days. अरे तेरे को कैसे मालूम मैं उधर रहूँगा? Sandwich कैसे लिया? Today, if this incident were to happen, you would have texted him before you left your house. अभी मैं bus stop जा रहा हूँ. अभी 2 मिनट में bus stop पहुँच रहा हूँ. तू किधर है? अरे कहाँ हो गया? क्या? So we don't have no time to trust our intuition at all. But now when I look back, wow, how did that happen? It was like a magic. How did I know he will come there? How did he know that I would have already packed sandwiches? Because somewhere we were governed by an inner sense of knowing. See, have you read Journey Home book? His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj's book. It's a beautiful book. There he writes a story of how he and Gary met at 3 different places at different time zones. Suddenly, they are very close friends. They separate in Israel. They meet in Nepal in one rice paddy field. Like this, they meet 3 times. So if somebody in modern time who's only involved in virtual reality, he will think this is some mythology. But this kind of reality exists. Super Soul guides us because there is something that doesn't die, something that doesn't take birth. Please repeat this verse after me. Avinashitu tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinasham avyayasyasya nakaschit kartum arhati. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, there is something which is avinashi, which doesn't get destroyed, which pervades the whole body. Everything will get destroyed, but this doesn't get destroyed. That is the I, that is the soul. And Krishna gives a beautiful example which all of us can relate to. This is also a beautiful verse, which is an analogy, example Krishna gives. Please repeat this. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya nava nigrinhati naro parani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Vasamsi jirnani. Just like the clothes, when they become old, we discard them. Similarly, nava nigrinhati naro param. We take new clothes. Similarly, tata sharirani vihaya jirnani. We give up this body and take another body. The soul is always there. In fact, the Gita emphatically declares in the 8th chapter that when the whole world gets destroyed, something doesn't get destroyed. And beyond this world, there is another reality. Parastasmatu bhavonyo vekto vekta sanatana yasa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. So I appeal to all of you. You are all young, intelligent, smart. Understand, what is this reality? I want to connect to this reality. I want to experience and have this soul realization. And the first step is enter this kind of space where traditions are being carried on for decades. Coming to an area where metaphysical reality is being explored. How many of you have been here? What is this place? Jagannath Puri. So in Jagannath Puri for thousands of years, same worship, same things are going on. When you enter that space, you feel you are also eternal. Like in Radha Gopinath Mandir, you saw Radha Gopinath GDT. They are being worshipped every day 6 times since 1988. How many of you are born after 1988? So many of you, see. That means even before you were born, Radha Gopinath ji was standing, playing flute, looking at all of you, your parents, your elders, us. And now they're looking, and now they'll continue to see. So many things have happened in the last 35 years. Right? But their service is going on. So many happy moments, so many anxiety. That 26/11 terrorist attack, the terrorists were caught here, just 50 meters from here. There was so much of fear and uncertainty at that time. And there was floods in Mumbai in 2006. So many things have happened in the last so many years, but Radha Gopinath Seva is going on consistently. So when we enter this space and we chant, we hear, we associate, we slowly tap that reality. I hope all of you are understanding what we are discussing. See, I'll tell you this experience. I come from a small town called Udupi. So during COVID, I was staying there for 8 months with my mother. So Udupi, since 1320, since Sripad Madhvacharya's time, same tradition is being followed. So at that time, less people were there. Most people are not coming out of the house. But I would go because I had to chant my rounds. I would go to this temple, Shiva temple there and Chandrash temple. And these temples have been, same thing is going on. So in the morning, the sannyasis would come and do their parikrama, chant mantras. And when I was there, it was as if I'm sitting on a time machine and I've been transported to 13th century. Same rituals, same traditions, same ambience. It was surreal. I felt I've been transported to a different dimension of existence. And there is inside, there is Vrindavan. There is a place where all the samadhis of the sannyasis are kept. And these sannyasis have lived for 95 years of age, serving Krishna. Nobody knows them. For so many decades, for so many centuries, this is going on. So when you're in that space, you become spiritual. You get spiritual realizations. I remember there is one samadhi of tiger, and that is actually next to that is a samadhi of the sannyasi Raghu Pravira Tirtha Swamiji of Adamar Mutt in 1865. He used to worship Krishna and do abhishek of the Udupi Krishna deity, and he used to take the milk of his favorite cow. And that day, this cow had not come back from the pasturing grounds. The man who had taken the cows, he reported that this cow is missing. And then it was revealed that the tiger in the forest had pounced on that cow, and so that cow is dead. For this, Raghu Pravira Tirtha Swamiji felt so sad that his favorite cow, Krishna's favorite cow, that cow milk was being used to bathe Krishna, is been killed by tigers. So feeling great sadness, he sat outside the matha, his temple Adamar Mutt, and he started doing meditation in repentance. And the Paramatma, remember? The reality, I said soul and super soul. The super soul in the heart of the tiger revealed to the tiger what is happening. And to the shock of all the residents in Udupi, the tiger came there outside the mutt, and everybody running here and there. And the tiger came right in front of this Swamiji, paid full dandavat to him, and left his body. And in honor of that incident, they made the samadhi of the tiger there. So the point I'm saying is, these are all mystical pastimes, but the point this shows is that there is a reality which we are not able to perceive with our senses. To perceive this reality, we need to enter the soul space. I'll just tell one more story of I'm just sharing this because I want to give you hope that there is something called a spiritual experience. So during this COVID time, when I was with my mother, one day there was a cyclone, and an ancestral house, I kept my mosquito net on top, it just flew away, and a huge long snake fell on the terrace, and our shutters threw away, the trees were swinging wildly. I felt our whole house is going to be uprooted. It was dark at night, the lights went off, electricity was not there, and my mother was very sick, and she couldn't get out of the bed, and raining heavily, and we didn't know where to go. And at one point of time, I realized that we're going to die now. It was as if the sword of death was hanging above our heads. But every day morning, 2 hours, evening 2 hours, we used to chant. I used to read Bhagavatam to my mom. She was lying on the bed. So at that particular point of time, I felt I'm going to die. I became little nervous, jittery. But at that time, I just held my mother's hand, and she looked at me, I looked at her, and lying on the bed, she said, "Son, if this is it, let it be." She just said that. And I remember at that point of time, suddenly feeling overwhelming sense of peace coming into my heart. It was as if, sab khatam hone wala hai abhi. At the same time, I felt I'm ready. I felt I don't belong to this world. That was, for a few minutes, that peace, I cannot describe. See, right, you may feel peaceful when you're sitting on the bank of an ocean or in a mountain. ऐसा लगता है ना, थोड़ा शांत लगता है. How many of you have felt peaceful when you have gone for trekking to a mountain or ocean, forest? You know why you have felt peaceful? Because that mountain, ocean, forest has been there forever compared to your body. And there is something within you which has also been there forever. So that person is meeting that person. And that is why you feel peace. You don't even know why you feel peace. So at that point of time, when I was about to die, I thought I'm going to die, I was feeling so peaceful. So I realized that there is something deeper. And therefore Bhagavatam tells us very powerful verse. Please repeat this after me. Ye ye bhupatayo rajan Bunjate bhuvamojasa Kalena te krita sarve Kata matra kata sucha. The context. Before this shloka, whole chapter Shukdev Goswami gives names of extremely powerful kings who ruled the entire planet. They were not president of one country. They were ruling the whole planet. Many kings' names he gives. And those names are so many names. And each one of them ruled for 500 years. Somebody ruled for 1000 years. Long time they were ruling. And after the whole list, this is the verse that comes. What is that? Ye bhupatayo rajan. Ye rajan, ye sab log hain. They were bhupati. They were lord of the whole planet. Bunjate bhuvamojasa. They enjoyed when they were ruling. Ojasa, with complete sensual power they enjoyed. But who are they today? Kalena te krita sarve. By the power of time, they are simply kata matra, kata sucha. They are simply names in history. That's it. Or kuch nahi. Srila Prabhupada said, Srila Prabhupada was in France. And France people love Napoleon Bonaparte. And Prabhupada said, so Napoleon said, I am France, France is Napoleon. France is still there. Where is Napoleon? Srila Prabhupada had this amazing ability to puncture our absorption in physical reality. So therefore, we appeal to you, come on, tap this. You are young, you have intelligence. See, Srila Prabhupada was in Jagannath Puri in 1977. He was on a morning walk in the beach. He was walking with his disciples. He had his walking cane. And suddenly Srila Prabhupada stopped. And devotees saw Prabhupada stopped. And Prabhupada looked and smiled. Prabhupada smiled because one young boy, your age, 22-year-old boy, was running in the ocean. The ocean waves were hitting him and he was jumping. And Prabhupada looked at his disciples and said, you see this boy? I was like him. In the year 1920, when I was a 24-year-old boy, I came to Jagannath Puri and I was also jumping just like him in the ocean. And today, 1977, 57 years have passed like this. 57 years. Nikal gaya. That's how powerful time is. So why are we absorbed in enjoying that which is temporary? See, once in Bhagavad Gita course, JOSD course, Gaur Gopal Prabhu was teaching, we were assisting him. 1996, 97 की बात है, बहुत पुराना story. So one boy suddenly raised his hand because it was the reincarnation class on who am I, the soul exists. One boy raised his hand and he said, I am a reincarnation case. We thought he's trying to get, sometimes you want attention, you do that. And he also realized, people are thinking I'm trying to get attention. So he kept quiet. The next day, fourth session, next day evening when he came, he brought one big file. And that was all the newspaper cuttings and reports from 1979 to 1983 covering his story. And then we realized he was the reincarnation story. Studied extensively by Dr. Ian Stevenson, who is like considered as Galileo of the 20th century. He scientifically proved that reincarnation exists. And his Indian assistant was Dr. Satyan Pasricha, who was the chairman and managing director of NIMHANS, National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, Bengaluru. So they study only children's stories of reincarnation because they know that children can't have their own, they can't allow the pigment of their own imagination to run wild. So it's difficult for children to cook up stories. So Deep Kapadia, that was his name. And he was born in Borivali, May 1979. At the age of 1.5, he starts stuttering in Marwadi language, Gujarati parents. And they are thinking, Marwadi kaise bol raha hai? And at the age of 2.5, he says, घर कितना छोटा है, हमारा घर में बाथरूम भी इससे बड़ा है. They are like, ये क्या बोल रहा है? And he says, मेरा घर उदयपुर में है. उदयपुर, अरे तो, and they started getting confused. So they took him to Dr. Ramakant Kenny, who was their family doctor. He said, this child, they did IQ test. 2-year-old child has IQ of 10-year-old boy. So they had to take him to a parapsychologist, Dr. Mithani. He said, this is a reincarnation case. Let us test him. He's talking about Udaipur. Let us go to Udaipur without telling him we are going to Udaipur. So this is a 3-year-old child. So the news meanwhile spreads. Bharat Gelani from Chitralekha magazine, which is the most famous Gujarati magazine, he comes there to cover the story. That time one Bollywood movie had become famous on reincarnation. So the parents were scared. They said, no, we don't want any publicity. He said, no, I will not cover this story till it is proved. So everybody is divided to go to Udaipur, but they told the child, we are going to Nathdwara. And to go to Nathdwara, which is around 800 miles from Mumbai, you have to go first to Udaipur. So they sat in the bus. And as they reached Udaipur, the child, 3-year-old child, automatically got out of the bus and he sat on the rickshaw. And all this team, Dr. Ian Stevenson's team was also there. They were all there. And he's sitting, Victoria Memorial le jao, Fateh Stand le jao, City Palace le jao. He's telling all of them. He's telling all these names to the driver. And they're all observing. And they go and he says, mere ghar pe le. And then he took the auto to his house, previous life ka house. And there his son of the previous life was there. The son is big man, and his 3-year-old child looks at him and says, "Beta." This is all documented by Ian Stevenson. So this is like, what is this? They're all shocked. And then the parents explain, see, ये हमारा बच्चा है ना, ये आपका बाप है. ये क्या बोल रहे? So then he explains the reincarnation story. So then they say, no, this is some spooky story. They want some share in the property. ये पूरा drama कर रहे. So they said, नहीं, get out. So then the parents explained, see, so Deep Kapadias were good family, cultured people from Borivali, Gujarati family. They said, हम लोगों को ऐसा time pass नहीं करना है, हम लोग इतने दूर से आए. We are also confused. We are also in problem. So then finally, that Deep Kapadia previous life son, his friends were also there, and they said, "Dik, तेरा नाक उसका नाक same है. थोड़ा अरे वो features देख." Then they saw the photograph of this boy's father, who is Deep Kapadia in the previous life. I don't get confused, ना, please. And they said, similar features है. And then they understood, the features same hai. And then guess what? One elderly lady came in. She was Deep Kapadia previous life's wife. Now she looked like grandmother of this child. And this child is calling his BB. He's calling her by her pet name. And then everybody is shocked. And then he started revealing some secrets which only both of them knew. And then they said, "Arey, ye to wahi hai." So then, you know what this man did, who is apparently the son? He said, "ठीक है, हम जाके देखते हैं, आपको क्या क्या पता है." Now, it's very interesting sight. Deep Kapadia is held in the arms of his son. So, son is carrying the father in his arms. And they go to City Palace. And in the City Palace, Deep Kapadia points out to one big painting and he says, "ये painting निकालो, पीछे बहुत बड़ा tunnel है." They said, "ऐसा कुछ नहीं है." But I'm telling you. And then they did that, they found it. And he started telling about one secret fan which is operated by kerosene. And they were like shocked. And today also if you go to Udaipur City Palace, the tour guide will tell you that this was revealed to us by Pannalal Agarwal, who was reborn as Deep Kapadia. Pannalal Agarwal was Maharana Fateh Singh, was the 44th descendant of Maharana Pratap, his chief security officer in the City Palace. Some people were envious of him and they fed him poisoned milk and he was killed. And he was born 2 years later as Deep Kapadia. Even today you can chat with Deep Kapadia. He's on Facebook, active. He's a mathematics professor. I spoke to him also on the phone. And I took his interview for my book, which I was writing at that point of time. So why I'm saying all this is, see, this is the reality. See, when Pannalal Agarwal died, his body was burnt. That means brain also gone. Everything is gone. But somebody is there. Otherwise, how will Deep Kapadia speak all this? So what I'm trying to say is, please ask these questions which Sanatana Goswami asked. Ke ami, kene amar, jara tapatre, who am I? Srila Prabhupada wanted us to ask these questions. You know, Gautam Buddha, how did he become Gautam Buddha? Prince Siddhartha was asking questions. He saw somebody dying. You know the story? He asked his minister, who is this? The minister said he is diseased, he is died, or he is... All those 4 things he saw. So you need to also have your Prince Siddhartha moment. You need to ask these questions. This is the curiosity. See, when you hear something which challenges your intelligence, please don't challenge, become curious. And Srila Prabhupada says, we can chant Hare Krishna whole day and we never get tired. You don't say, Hare, kuch bhi aisa kaise ho sakta? Don't challenge. Instead you ask, how can somebody chant whole day and not get tired? Become curious. Kuch to hai. See, Abdul Kalam, I was reading his book some years ago. He's an amazing personality, right? Dr. Abdul Kalam, incidentally, was a great fan of Mahabharata, New Sanskrit. He has written a poem on Vidura. He says, I'm more of a Tamil Brahmin than a Muslim. So, Abdul Kalam, he writes, he used to give a lot of lectures to children. So he has done more than 5,000 seminars for children, school children. In one program, one child asked him, in front of huge audience, who is the world's first scientist? And Abdul Kalam gave one word answer, one sentence answer, and there was thunderous applause. He said, a child is the world's first scientist. Because the child is always curious, wants to know. Because once, and Abdul Kalam would always answer questions. But one day in one program, one child asked him, there is so much water in Brahmaputra river. and there is no water in Rajasthan. Why not transfer that water from Brahmaputra to Rajasthan? Problem solved. So Abdul Kalam was thinking, how do I explain to the child that water is a state issue, state government issue, river water, and transferring that would be a central government issue. So how do I explain this challenge to this child? Because the child is not seeing what is not, child is always in the possibility mindset. Karna hai, curiosity. So spiritual life means we need to have this possibility mindset, curiosity mindset. मुझे जानना है ये सच्चाई क्या है. I want to rise, go beyond. Actually, I'm rushing through some of the slides because I also want to take some questions. We want to have some discussions. See, basically, when we are absorbed in our life, it is like having a 5 rupee coin close to your eyes. You know, sometimes when you keep a coin very close to your eyes and look at the sun, you know, the sun's vision can be blocked. But is the coin so big that it can cover the sun? Why is the coin able to cover the sun's vision? Because it is close to our eyes. And how many times bigger is the sun compared to the coin? Quadrillion times. But even that small coin has the ability to cover our vision of the sun. Similarly, our problems, our issues, we are always in our own world, na? Mind mein. They are so big sometimes, and we keep it so close to our consciousness that we are not able to see the metaphysical reality. We are not able to see Krishna. We are not able to see Srimad Bhagavatam. We are so blinded by our own petty 5 rupee issues. That's for after the World Cup India lost, one boy Rahul Lunar from Kolkata, he committed suicide. He just couldn't take that pain. Why? That 5 rupee coin was so close to his eyes. He couldn't visualize the reality beyond his immediate pain. Okay, during that time, when India lost to Australia in the World Cup finals, around that same time, 40 workers in Uttarkashi were trapped in a tunnel. And the rescue operations included a big team which included Australians. So, few days before, in the India-Australia match, it was India versus Australia. And a few days later, it was India and Australia. And the whole nation was glued to this, to this news. It was an intense news, right? And all of them were rescued. So if you were given a choice, India wins the World Cup, but they won't be saved. Or if you had a choice, India will lose the World Cup finals, but they will be saved. What would you prefer? Or everyone would prefer the second option. Why? Because intuitively we know that there is a bigger reality, the reality of love. It's not I versus you, it is I and you. That's how we are all connected to each other. That is a metaphysical reality. When I was a young boy, Bollywood movies were very cliched. Every story would be same. There was hero and his brother, both heroes. In the Kumbh Mela, they would get separated. And then they would become enemies. And they would fight against each other. In the last scene of the movie, just about to, one of them is going to kill the other fellow. Suddenly he says, "Arey, Nishan, mera bhi Nishan. Bye bye." You know, that is how the movies used to be. And then suddenly the enemies become friends. They become brothers because same Nishan. They see their root. Oh, hamara ek hi baap. Why I'm saying this stupid example is because we are all connected to each other because Krishna, our Parampita, is same. So that's why when there were Australians helping in the same rescue operation, there were Indians also. There were some people who were doing jugaad. They were sending khichdi through pipes to the tunnel workers inside trapped. Somebody was sending them phones and games. What all they were doing to help them, and the whole world was watching this. It was an amazing experience. It brought out humanity. What I'm saying is, we are talking about the physical reality. There is goodness in physical reality, and then we raise our consciousness and enter the metaphysical space. See, Russia and Ukraine are on war. When the war started, I remember doing a program here in our conference room. Devotees from Russia and Ukraine were here. They're living together in Mayapur. And there's a community of Vaishnavas. They have a whole colony. So in the world they are fighting. In Russia they are fighting. But here they are living together. How Krishna brings everyone together. And that reality is what we want to explore. And that reality we can touch when we have these practices of hearing, like what you're doing now, hearing, chanting, service. This is what helps us access this reality. And then when we see Krishna, then everything makes sense. We start loving everyone. See, our problem is many of us are like a dog. If you throw a bone at the dog, what does the dog do? Dog gets busy with the bone. He is happy with the bone. And he's only thinking of the bone. If you throw a bone at the dog is absorbed in the bone. He can't think of anything else. But if you throw a bone at a lion, what will happen? Will the lion look at the bone? Look at the bone thrower and he will look and वो घूर के देखेगा कौन फेंका, right? So what I'm saying is, in our life, bone is like the circumstances, challenges, problems, situations. Life throws at us, right? सबके life में आता है. So if we are a dog, we will be only thinking of that only problem. We can't think beyond it. We will be absorbed in physical reality. We have to become lion. We have to see who is throwing. There is Krishna who's giving us that bone. That's why our Lord is half man, half lion. Nowadays we are more interested in half man, half bat, half man, half spider. That is our problem. But Krishna is throwing these bones. We need to see a reality beyond our present situation. And that vision we get when we start hearing. What we are doing now is hearing scriptures. This is the starting step. Please don't underestimate the power of what you are doing just now. Live hearing of classes, chanting, service. This is the way we access metaphysical reality. And trust me, not because I am saying Hare Krishna, there are even management gurus. The greatest management guru of 20th century, all Time magazine, everyone has acknowledged this, is Dr. Stephen Covey, who is the author of the most famous 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And he writes in his books about one power of conscience. He says 4 human endowments. I'm not getting into the details of that book, but one of the points he says is, if you want to tap our inner power, conscience, he says we need to hear scriptures and study scriptures dutifully. He is not a Hare Krishna devotee. And I thought, what is he saying, scriptures? I thought maybe he means something else. ऐसा होता है ना, उसका कोई definition ही अलग होगा. Like before coming to ISKCON, pizza, I had a different definition only of pizza. So everybody has own definition. So similarly, scripture, I don't know what he means. So I went to the appendix of the book. There's a book he's written called First Things First, about time management. So in the end of the book, he speaks about scriptures, and there he gives names of Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata as scriptures. So I understood, he knows what he's saying. So what happens when we read and hear scriptures, Bhagavatam, Ramayana, that Paramatma gets awakened. We went for a yatra to Sri Lanka some years ago with a group of devotees from Mumbai. All the places, Ashok Vatika and all those places. And we were doing Yuddhakand stories. But many places we were going, I used to see Ravana bar and restaurant, Ravana is very popular there in Sri Lanka. So I was describing the war pastimes, 9 days war, Ramayana पूरा हम लोग कर रहे थे. और कुंभकर्ण तक, इंद्रजित तक मारा, वो रावण को नहीं मारा उधर. बोला रावण को बॉम्बे जाके मारेंगे. Because Sri Lanka mein is quite popular there. So we were there in many, so I used to do Ram Katha in the morning and evening. And morning I used to do seminars, like relationship seminars, forgiveness seminars, all those, workshops and all those things. So in the end of the yatra, everybody said the evening Ram Katha was very nourishing. And I said, but आप लोगों को तो पता है रामायण, इतने साल से आप सुन रहे हैं. And they said, beautiful. All of them said, Prabhu ji, सब पता है. पर वही चीज सुनने में ना जो आनंद है, it is the same thing, same Ram. Then I said, it is not simply that there is some spiritual power in these scriptures. See, these scriptures are not ordinary. Whether it is Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, all these scriptures are specially, they are not written by ordinary humans. They are divinely empowered. I'll give an example of Ramayana, for example. See, Ramayana, how it begins. Now, because day after tomorrow is a very auspicious day, so we should give examples from Ramayana. See, Ramayana, Valmiki Muni begins by seeing 2 crauncha birds. Crauncha birds is Sarus crane. So he sees them mating, and the hunter shoots an arrow at the male, and the female is wailing. She's feeling a lot of pain that her partner has been killed. So in great anger, Valmiki pronounces a curse. Ma nishada pratisthama samagama shashvati sama yat krauncha mituna dekha yadavadi kama mohita. He says, oh, they were enjoying and you shot, may you be cursed. Like that, out of his shoka, a shloka comes. So he's very surprised. And he's explaining how these krauncha birds, the female, once her partner dies, she never takes another partner. This is said in lakhs of years ago by Valmiki Muni in Ramayana. And just 100 years, 80 years ago, the ornithology is a branch of zoology. Zoology studies animals and birds. Ornithology studies birds. So ornithologists, just 80 years ago, proved that Sarus crane species, they actually have this trait. The female, when her male partner is killed or dies, she never accepts another partner. So what has taken mankind to discover only recently, already it is there in Ramayana. And it is mentioned very nonchalantly. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, wait, we're going to reveal something amazing. No, it's a well-known fact. Like how Bharat and Shatrugna are coming back from their maternal grandparents' house. So Kaikeyi was from Ukraine, Russia side. So, their traveling is described and you will see, wow, that's how the travel was till recently. The deers and the dogs are, those, what is that called? I don't know, that kind of sledge, no? So that kind of a vehicle they had. Those vehicles are also described in Ramayana. In fact, Russia is a phonetic misnomer for Rishi. Many Rishis went there many years ago. In fact, if you read Ramayana, you will see that Ramayana is not only entertaining but also enlightening. Because main mood of Ramayana is sacrifice, giving up. Giving up for service. Like, Gaur Gopal Prabhu says beautifully, he says, the world is believing in ice cream philosophy. Ice cream philosophy is enjoy before it melts. And he said there is another philosophy called candle philosophy. Candle is bring light before it melts. So he says, we as devotees, because we are students of Ramayana, we have accepted the candle philosophy. We want to bring light, we want to help. Because anyway we are going to melt. Anyway we are going to die. So if you see in Ramayana, everybody is making a sacrifice. Lakshman is giving up. Bharat is given up his kingdom. Sita has gone to the forest. Everybody, in fact, nowadays everybody talks about freedom. In New York, they have the Statue of Liberty. But we need a statue of responsibility. That is what our Honorable Prime Minister is trying to do. We need people to take responsibility. That's what Srila Prabhupada wanted Sita, Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman deities in Washington. He said, Washington is the capital of America, America is the capital of the world. So we need leadership. Ram represents the ideal leadership. So Srila Prabhupada wanted Sita, Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman deities in Washington. He said we should have Ram, Lakshman, Sita, Hanuman deities installed in London because London is the capital of the entire Europe. At that time. Srila Prabhupada wanted Sita, Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman deities in Delhi because Delhi is the capital of India. And he also desired Sita, Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman deities in Mumbai because he said Mumbai is the financial capital of India. So therefore, this is our glorious Vedic scriptures. In fact, in Ramayana, you will find many such trivia. When Bharat is angry with his mother Kaikeyi for banishing Ram, many things he tells his mother. One of the things he says is, Mother, you don't understand. You are from the land where the oldest son always rules. So how can you make me the king? Don't you know, in your kingdom, even the peacocks, they choose their eldest who has the crest on the head as the ruler. Now Bharat is saying this it's one of the shlokas. But if you compare life of Ukraine and Russia, before 11th century, you will find lot of artifacts, paintings, arts. All of them, you will find them having peacock with the crest. These are all traditional discoveries in Ukraine and Russia. See, basically, this Ram Mandir program, which is going to happen day after tomorrow, is not simply a Hindu temple. It's representing the civilizational ethos of Bharat. Because Ramayana has widespread influence all over the world. We just don't know. Actually, what is this body of water you see? Where is this from? Anybody? Any guesses? This is river Sita. Where is this river? Khabarovsk in Russia. See, I've written a book called Lessons from the Road. This was released last year. So during my travels to Russia, what I saw, traveling in the villages of India, meeting different people. So there are a lot of interesting facets I've shared in this book. So you can take it. It's not very highly priced. It's available down. So in Khabarovsk in Russia, there is a river called Sita. And people there, for them, there is a lake called Ram. There is a lake called Moksha. There is a deity of Vishnu found in Volga district. In fact, William James, one of the noted historians in 1820, said Ramayana is so powerful and influential that Peru, Cambodia, Mexico, Brazil, everywhere Ramayana remnants are found. Therefore, the father of history, Will Durant, he has said this amazing statement: India was the motherland of our race and Sanskrit the mother of European languages. India is the mother of our philosophy, of our mathematics, of the ideals embodied in Christianity, of self-government and democracy. Mother India is in many ways the mother of us all. He is the author of Story of Civilization. Even Iraq, if you go, there are so many places called Ramadi, Ramya. In fact, in Israel, there is Ramallah place. In fact, in Iraq, you will find a lot of carvings of Sita, Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman in many of the places. Warner Brothers released a Hollywood movie some years ago called Sara, where a little girl, the whole movie is based on her rendition of Ramayana. See, Ramayana has universal appeal. It has a story and the plot of a princess in distress and the hero saving. See, the spoilers are already there. Everybody knows what the story, but still it is so fascinating. There are more than 300 versions of Ramayana. Everywhere Ramayana was spread. So this event that is happening is not simply an ordinary temple. This is representing the glory of Bharat. This is an opportunity for all of us to feel proud. In fact, Ramayana, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, only 2 chapters are there. Because at that time, Ramayana was well known. 5,000 years ago, Ramayana was very well known already. In fact, when devotees met Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia in the early 70s, they gave him Ramayana as a gift. Why? Because in Ethiopia, they all accept that they are descendants of Kush, Ram's son, Kush. They call themselves as Kushites. In fact, Emperor Haile Selassie said, yes, we are all descendants of Kush, Lord Ram's son. In fact, in the Bible, they have the story of, I don't know how they pronounce it. It's Cushhites, Kushites. They call themselves as Kushites. Kusha, they say, is the son of Ham. Ham is a phonetic misnomer for Ram. See, phonetic is the way the sound is pronounced or spelled. But because of time gap, the sound changes. Like Lord Ram shot an arrow at Maricha, and he fell so many miles away in the ocean on that side of an island, and there he stayed. And that Maricha, the place where Maricha fell, became Oricha. And then it became Mauritius. See, if you see, this is which place? Egypt. Egypt is actually derived from Ajpati. Ajpati was a forefather of Dasharath Maharaj. In fact, even today, if you ask Egyptians, their traditional, most famous personality is Queen, this is their queen, Sita Men. Sita Men. She is Sita Men, that's her name. She is the most important personality in their legends. So, see, Ethiopia is what? 5,000 kilometers from India. Egypt is around 7,000, like that. Now, if I tell you this example, the next one, the last one, I'm just trying to give you an idea of how we are dealing with books and scriptures which are extremely powerful and potent, and they had widespread influence. And now we are getting it on a platter. Don't underestimate its power. Now, you may think this is too far-fetched. This is Rome. Rome is derived from Ram. You may say, "Arey Prabhu, बहुत ज़्यादा ही फेंक रहे हैं आप." Okay, if you go into history, Rome was founded on 21st April 753 BC. Now, if you calculate according to the Vedic calculations, that is the exact date, that is the date on which Ram Navami falls. And Rome was founded by the Etruscan civilization. And if you see in Rome, there are many places, many tourist sites, many ancient archaeological discoveries where you will find walls with these paintings, these kind of paintings where 2 men and a woman, and men have bows and arrows. How do you explain this? Okay, Rome, diametrically opposite Rome. Today you can go there as a tourist. On the western side of Rome, exactly opposite of Rome, is this city called Ravenna. Ravenna is coming from Ravana. So Ravana is opposite of Ram. And there you will find in the caves carvings of monkeys carrying stones, boulders, men with bow and arrows. This is not simply Rome or Ethiopia or Egypt. In fact, if you go to see, Iranians worship fire. Fire is an essential element of Vedic Yajna. Armenia, there is a temple of little blue boy. They worship. In fact, French historians have established that our Armenians used to worship Radha and Krishna. See, this is not difficult for us to understand because Parashuram destroyed Kshatriya race and the Kshatriyas had to run away. They ran away to different places. In fact, Thailand, their national book is Ramakien, Glory of Ram. In fact, their capital till recently was Ayutthaya, derived from Ayodhya. In fact, most of the kings from Thailand's history are Rama I, Rama II. Like in England, they have Henry I, Henry II, like that. If you go to Germany, the Swabian Alp, there they found half man, half lion deity, which is Narsimhadev deity, and they did archaeological, what do they call? They do carbon dating. They found that deity to be 40,000 years old. How do you explain this? In fact, that's why Voltaire, have you heard, is one of the most famous French philosophers. He said this: I am convinced that everything has come down to us from the banks of the river Ganga. In fact, Ramayana is so all-pervading. See, the main principle of Ramayana is about love. And the principle of Ramayana is even today followed in Indian, it's part of Indian ethos. Like Ram, when his soldiers were dying, when Vanaras were dying, he kept the bodies of the Vanaras. And Ravana, when he saw his Asuras are dying, you know what he did? He threw them in the ocean. Because he didn't want their bodies to be seen by Ram's army and they will get strength. So he dumped off. For him, Ravana mentality is, my soldiers are my resource. I have to use them. For Ram, they were people. They had to be cared for. This is the ethos of Bharat. See, during the Kargil war, this was Ramayana principle was followed. Subconsciously, Indians were following this. See, Indian army was so gracious that Kargil war, they said so many people have died, but Pakistan was not releasing their list because they wanted to prove that they had less soldiers dying in the war. So eventually, to prove that they won the war, they released only a small list, saying that we lost only so many men. But there were so many bodies. So Pakistan refused to claim those bodies. Typical Ravana mentality, use our people, throw them away. So what Indian army did is astonishing. Indian army wrote letters and mentioning that these soldiers from your army fought very well, you should give them your equivalent of Paramvir Chakra that you have. Not only that, Indian army flew in Maulvis from Delhi in helicopters to perform the last rites of these soldiers who were fighting for Pakistan. What I'm trying to say is that the mentality, the modern mentality of hedonism, using everything for sense gratification, that is the total antithesis of the culture of Ramayana. And Ramayana and Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, this is influencing thoughts not just of, William Jones, 18th century, 19th century, even today. Almost all the self-help gurus, they are influenced by India in some way or the other. I don't want to go on and on and on, the long list. Wayne Dyer, he was a student of Nisarga Datta Maharaj near Pune. The number one right now is, who is that very famous self-help motivational guru, Tony Robbins. He comes to Kashi every year. And the greatest book America has ever produced philosophically is called Walden, written by Henry David Thoreau. And that book is heavily derived from Vedanta. His mentor, Ralph Waldo Emerson, while giving a lecture in Harvard, he spoke about how seeing God, we should see God everywhere. And he was banned from Harvard because he was said, you are a pantheist, speaking against Christianity. In fact, Oliver Wendell Holmes, Emerson, Thoreau, all of them came together and formed Boston Brahmin community. They never came to India. Even today on Wikipedia, you will find a page, Boston Brahmin community. None of them are Brahmins. None of them are from India. But they knew what Vedanta is teaching. They knew what is Brahminism. They knew what is wisdom. In fact, Henry David Thoreau was a great student of Mother Ganga. He was a devotee. While dying, his last words was India, and he died. He used to do yoga, he used to worship Mother Ganga. Anyway, there's so much we can discuss. The essence of what I'm trying to say, in the next few minutes I want to say this, that Srila Prabhupada said, Indians are so close to Ram. They are so close to Krishna, but they are turning towards the West. And Westerners are so far from Krishna, but they are coming towards Krishna. Bharata bhumita hoile manusha janmajar जन्म सार्थक कोरी करो पर उपकार. महाप्रभु said, जिसका जन्म भारत भूमि में हुआ है, अपना जन्म सार्थक करो और परोपकार करो. See, when I went to airport to receive Russian devotees, they came out of the airport. You know what is the first thing they did? I was shocked. Spontaneously they offered dandavat. रोड पे. मैं बोले क्या कर रहे हैं आप? बोले भारत भूमि है. For I'm just saying how people are valuing what they are getting. So if you want to enter a metaphysical reality, you want to understand a reality beyond temporary things, this is the land where you can experience this shelter. See, there are different spaces we live in. How many of you have gone through suffering? Any kind of suffering? Yes. So suffering, so for what do we do when we are suffering? For solution, we stimulate. We get some YouTube, Netflix, some screening, some watch, some playing some sports. We just want to stimulate ourselves when we suffer. But there is something higher. Entering Sattva Guna and experiencing satisfaction. There is something even higher. Shelter. And this shelter is beyond senses. I'll give an example. See if this makes sense. You know, all our senses, we can experience eyes, nose, ear. One day I was in a garden and I go there for my walks. I was in the evening. One man, elderly man, he knows me, came and sat with me on the bench. And it was a windless day. And he sat next to me and he broke wind. He flatulated. And it was sticking. It was horrible, but I had to be polite. I had to smile at him, talk to him, because I didn't want to. And he was constantly flatulating. Constantly. And I was like, oh, kabhi jayega. I was suffering. But I had to. And finally when he left, I got up. And as soon as I got up, I went and I went to the next bench and I sat there. And there, one young couple came. And they were heavily perfumed. And that fragrance assaulted my nostrils. So the first one was suffering. This was a good fragrance, but it was stimulating. It was assault. You understand what I'm saying? It's like other extreme of sensual experience. First was suffering sensually. This was stimulating sensually. But I felt this is better than that. So I sat in the bench. But then this couple started their Ajamil pastime. So I had to get up. Our Sudama Prabhu says, Ajamil can't happen because he saw that lady prostitute, Ajamil, and said Ajamil. So that's why Ajamil. His name is Ajamil. So I was first suffering. You're getting this example? First there is suffering, then stimulation. Then I got up. I said, Arey, dono bekar experience. Then I walked. And when I walked ahead in the garden, I saw the gardener was putting water on the plants and roses. You know the water when it is mixed with earth. So that was going somewhere deeper than the nostril. It was an experience beyond the nose. I'm sure all of you have this kind of experiences. First was suffering, second was stimulation, third was satisfaction. Then I came to temple, went to sleep. Next day morning I got up at 4:30, came for Mangalarti. As soon as the curtain opened at 5, the fragrance from the altar of the garlands. Hari Bol! Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki Jai! So that fragrance entered the soul. So are you getting these 4 experiences? Suffering, second. Stimulation, third. Satisfaction, fourth. Shelter. Shelter. And this shelter is at the level of the soul. Therefore, we request you, please come back to Krishna. Make a choice of Krishna. And when we enter the Krishna space, we enter this reality which is beyond sensual experiences. There is a very famous video. You can watch it on YouTube later. You type Malayalam, bhajan, contest. There was a Krishna Bhajan contest. See, actually not Krishna Bhajan. It was like an Indian Idol program in Kerala. There are 3 different contests covered by different channels, different participants, all children taking part. And in all the 3 contests, one different child was singing a famous Malayalam Krishna Bhajan. And the last part of that bhajan is a very high-pitched singing where they sing Krishna in a very high pitch. And amazingly, in all the 3 competitions, all the 3 different girls, all the different judges, different audience, all of them, when they were in this peak high pitch of singing Krishna, all the girls broke down and they were crying. Just chanting Krishna's name at that innocence, that purity brought tears in their eyes. In fact, one of the girls was a Muslim, she was in hijab. But just chanting Krishna so many times with intensity brings that emotion, because this word Krishna is all attractive. Krishna is purifying. This helps us, this transports us to a metaphysical reality. Please, please chant Krishna's holy names. In fact, India is filled with this kind of powerful energies. How many of you have been to Vrindavan? You've seen Radha Raman DT? Always smiling. And suddenly in some photographs you will see Radha Raman has 2 teeth. And this year, 1st January, Radha Raman showed 4 teeth. You will find it, you will be shocked. Because Radha Raman was very happy that Ayodhya temple is coming up. So, how do you explain this? This is not Photoshop. Everybody knows. From 1995 I am hearing. Suddenly I see Radha Raman's photograph, you will see, suddenly Radha Raman ji is smiling, daan dikhta hai. Like this, there are many places. You go to Seva Kunj, there you will see evening time, Vrindavan is filled with monkeys. 5 o'clock, all the monkeys line mein bahar aate. Nobody enters that place because Radha and Krishna are going to perform pastimes. See, this is just, I am giving 1 or 2 examples. You go to any, I'll give you one small remote place. This is a place called Mantralaya in Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka border. There is a Raghavendra Swami Samadhi. I'm just giving you one small example. Raghavendra Swami is incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj in Madhva Sampradaya. He went into Samadhi in 1660 or something. Live Samadhi. He said, Mere upar Samadhi bana do. And he said, I will be like this for next 600 years or something. I will be there. So then in 1799, Anglo-Mysore war happened. Tipu Sultan was killed. Thomas Munro was the Governor General. He wanted to acquire that land. He came to Mantralaya. He said, this land, some agreements are happening and these people are saying, no, this is our Raghavendra Swamiji's Samadhi. You can't take this. He said, let me see what is this place. So he entered. But he was a cultured British man. So before entering, he knew the culture. So he removed his hat. He removed his shoes and he entered. And suddenly he started speaking in English. Oh, yes, good morning. And then he's nodding his head and he's speaking. For 1 hour he was talking. And all the pujaris and they're all watching. This is 1799, a simple village in Mantralaya, where Raghavendra Swami Samadhi is there. And he's like, and after that he came out and he looked at all of them and he said, I will not take this land. They said, why? No, your Swamiji is insisting that you people are very faithful and we should keep this. He spoke to you. But he went into Samadhi 130 years ago. Yeah, he spoke to me in fluent English. Fluent English. See, this is not some mythology. This is real. This is documented because the East India Company was shocked when he said, I'm not taking this land. So then he had to explain to the East India Company. He wrote to them saying that there is a live saint there, mystical saint. So East India Company thought, ye hamara Thomas Munro pee ke gaya rahega. So they appointed a subcommittee. This is all documented. They appointed a subcommittee to investigate whether Sir Thomas Munro was drunk that day when he went to that place. So that subcommittee ka pura report hai. The report says, Sir Thomas Munro was in order. He was not drunk. So this you will find. This is in Madras Gazette, page 213, chapter 11. 130 years after Raghavendra Swami's Samadhi, this incident happened. In fact, Thomas Munro was so much affected, he went back to England after retirement and he told his family, every generation after his death, they make it a point to come to Mantralaya and pay respect to Raghavendra Swami. 2 years ago, their 5th generation came. All of them came in sari. The men came in dhoti and they took Mantrakshad and went back to England. See, these... Actually, there is There is so much in India is happening. We are in the sacred land of Bharat, where so many saints have come, so many devotees of Krishna have come. So I request all of you, I will end here because I want to take some questions also. But just before ending, I want to appeal to all of you that please explore this metaphysical reality. Connect yourself to Krishna through hearing, chanting, service. And if you find that Prabhuji, after chanting for so many years also I'm not able to connect to Krishna, then I would request you slow down your life. Slow down, write journals, thoda breathing karo, prayers karo. Journal, I write journals every day. I can speak for 3 hours on journaling. Journal writing is very good. It helps you connect with Krishna the best way. सुकून मिलता है 2 लफ्ज कागज पर उतार कर. सुकून मिलता है 2 लफ्ज कागज पर उतार कर. जोर से चीख भी लेता हूं और आवाज भी नहीं होती. It is very powerful. So I request all of you to explore a relationship with Krishna through journaling, through praying, through chanting. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So thank you, bro. It was a nice class. So now we request all of you, if you have any question, you can raise your hand and we'll send the mic to you. If you have any question. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
So
no
thank.
questions. First time.
Okay, there is a one question. माइक भेज रहे आपको.
नहीं बोलने दो, माइक आएगा तब कंटिन्यू करेंगे.
Hare Krishna. Puji, you gave example that when you were sitting beneath the banyan tree, and that you were able to feel that how much past time he was means from how many long time it was existing. So Prabhuji, means it also requires a kind of peace and some our conscious that we can feel it. So, and you also mentioned that you visited some place and you were seeing towards the stars, and so that we are also not able to Prabhuji, means think in that way, because it also required a sense of peace, and like because in the era of virtual reality we are indulged in mobile phone, like scrolling YouTube. So many of the time I feel that I remain confused, and like reading ability is decreasing. So Prabhuji, how we can enhance that thing?
Actually, this is ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, is common now. It's increasing rampantly. So Carl Newport has written a very beautiful book called Deep Work. So a lot of studies are proving that if you really want to do deep work and get a lot of results, even forget spiritual life, even materially, then you need to have prolonged time you need to spend in concentration, focus. So for that, smartphone is the biggest challenge. So what we do is, many of us, just like earlier we used to do Ekadashi, we don't eat grains. So now our Ekadashi version has changed. We continue not eating grains, but we also follow once a week fasting from phones, smartphones. I know we can't fast completely. So what we can do is, in my sadhana card, there is one column where I write how many hours I have consciously not used the phone. Like for example, today morning, I woke up at 3 o'clock and I switched on my phone at 9:30. So that's how many hours I didn't? 6.5 hours. So I wrote 6.30. Then at 9:45, I switched off the phone again because I had to reply to some messages. And 12:45, again I switched it on. That's 3 more hours. So today I have spent 9.5 hours without the smartphone. So like that, we can begin now. Then rest of it, after that, I had to keep the phone on because I had some meetings and somebody was coming to meet me, all of that. What I'm saying is we need to know how to use the phone judiciously. Otherwise, we'll be helpless. And there are lots and lots of studies. In fact, there is a whole bunch of, you will find TEDx talks on how smartphone is extremely, extremely debilitating. So to connect to spiritual reality, metaphysical reality, we need to learn to navigate through this crisis. This is a crisis of 21st century. I'm not saying don't use a smartphone. Don't get me wrong. Social media, we are living at an age when all this is a necessity. But I also think if you have good association, see how many of you, see you came for this class today. I don't know how many of you come regularly for satsang programs like this. If you come, you are in a safe zone. See, nowadays people want short reels because attention span is reducing. But actual churning happens when you can sit for long hours in a class. This is called the strategy of embracing pain. See, we have not been taught to embrace pain. From childhood, we have been taught that you want to be happy and remove pain. But you ask any person who's evolved, they'll say that जिंदगी में खुशी चाहिए तो थोड़ा जो मुस्कुरा रहा है उसे दर्द ने पाला होगा. जो मुस्कुरा रहा है उसे दर्द ने पाला होगा. जो चल रहा है उसके पाँव में छाला होगा. बिना संघर्ष के इंसान चमक नहीं सकता. जो जलेगा उसी दिए में तो उजाला होगा. So you need to learn to sit in meditation, chant for 2 hours, hear class for 1 hour. Basically, you need to sit in that space. Without that, you can't get spiritual realization. You can't just look for quick fixes. It's not a pill that you swallow and get realization. Even in material life, specialized Navy commando training, Marcos, Marine commandos. America, they are very famously known as Navy SEALs. So they have one training called, interesting, Hell Week. मतलब एक week आपको नरक का दृश्य दिखाते हैं. Hell Week is when 140 hours of training with only 2 hours of rest in the night and 2 hours to toilet, eating, talking, whatever. 140 hours in a week training. It's called Hell Week because it makes you go through hell. And it is designed to break you. And 90% of the people, they are not able to complete the Hell Week. And there are some, interesting, they have done 3 Hell Weeks in their life. It says that if you do 1 Hell Week, 5 years from your life is taken away. It is so rigorous training. And they interviewed and they found out how some people are able to complete that. And how some people are not able to complete. Those who are not able to complete, they keep calculating, अभी इतना कम, अभी इतना बाकी है, अभी कर लेंगे, हो जाएगा. But those are able to complete it, they are not thinking of how many hours is left. They are thinking, I don't like this. This is tough, but I accept it and I'm in the present. They're in that mood. They are embracing the pain. See, without learning to embrace pain, we can't get spiritual realizations. And as long as we have smartphones, we'll keep getting bewildered. जाना किधर था न जाने कहाँ बढ़ रहा हूँ. दूसरों की किस्मत लिखनी थी, अब खुद की लकीरें पढ़ रहा हूँ. गुस्सा सबसे हूँ पर खुद से लड़ रहा हूँ. हासिल तो नहीं किया कुछ, फिर भी सब कुछ खोने से डर रहा हूँ. इन धड़कनों पर मत जाओ, जिंदा हूँ मगर अंदर से मर रहा हूँ. So in essence, to cut the long story short, my answer to your question is, there is no shortcut. There is no shortcut to this. Okay? Thank you for your question. It's a very relevant question and timely question. This is the need of the hour, actually.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan ki. So any other question? Please raise your hand. Mic will come to you. Yeah, you can send the mic behind. Yeah, he has risen his hand.
thank you for such a wonderful class this evening. So my question is little relevant to the topic and little it may not be.
Sorry, can you say that last sentence again?
I told thank you for such a wonderful class.
Sorry.
So my question may be little relevant to the topic or little it may not be. So I wanted to ask one thing that even I have read few scriptures, and these scriptures that you had mentioned are very powerful, and we must have a faith on it to believe the entire philosophy. So as you mentioned, in India, it's a very pure land where there is a provision to practice devotional service in a very easy way and as well as very hard manner. Like and in scriptures, it is mentioned that if we read in Bhagavatam or somewhere, that just by hearing the verse of Bhagavatam or just by chanting this Hare Krishna mantra, our sins are vanished and we attain perfection. On the similar hand, there is another extreme situations where in scriptures like Garud Puran and all, it's mentioned very horrifying circumstances of whatever sins we perform. So it's like these scriptures are written, that is not an issue, but it is not a very systematic process. Like if there is an easy provision also to practice in a way, so I am confused, like what is the destination of a living entity if he practices devotional service as well, and by mistake or by some without his knowledge he performs any sinful activities as well. Like I will give an example of Nrigu Maharaj. He was a very saint and pious person, but by mistake he donated a cow of a Brahmin, and he had to suffer a life of he got a birth of a chameleon in the next birth. So this is just an example, and I got confused. So this is my question.
So you are asking how to understand the various contradictions in scriptures and statements where people have suffered so much. Extreme.
There are two extreme situations in scriptures.
Exactly.
Like there is an easy way.
Easy way also and extremely difficult is also relevant. So therefore, first rule of studying scriptures is Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. Vedic scriptures are never studied independently. 4th chapter of Gita, text number 13, Krishna says that we study the scriptures under the shelter of a guru. We inquire, we also serve, and that purifies. That is the first rule. Okay? So we don't simply take statements just like that. And second, see, scriptures contain both statements. Somebody is very new, to encourage him, you will find statements like ek bar ek mantra bolo aapka uddhar ho jayega. So person gets encouraged to come to devotional service. But there are some people who are very nalayak. You know, they are like, they will be in bhakti, but they will say, "Arey, हमारा तो उद्धार हो गया, हमने तो एक बार बहुत बार कर लिया." So to shake them, scriptures contain statements like, "Bau janma kare yadi shravana kirtan, तबु तो ना पाए पदे कृष्ण प्रेमदन." बहुत जन्मों तक भी हरिनाम लो, आपको कृष्ण नहीं मिलेंगे. हम बोलेगा, अरे ये तो पूरा एक्सट्रीम हो गया. That is to shake us, because sometimes we get complacent, right? So हमारा scriptures का मूड क्या है मालूम है? Comfort the afflicted. जो बहुत घायल है उसको प्यार से उसको सांत्वना दो. Comfort the afflicted and afflict the comforted. जो comfortably बैठा है उसको. So we need to understand. So when we read such statements, when we read statements which is very heavy, you should understand ये उस समय के लिए है, उस context के लिए जब हम complacent हो रहे हैं. और जब आपको बहुत प्यारा स्टेटमेंट मिल रहा है, encouraging statement मिल रहा है, that is when you are depressed, you should read those statements. So when I am like down, I read encouraging statements. When I am complacent, I read scary statements. But overall, all of this is taken care in Kali Yuga. Kalir dosha nide rajan asti eko mahan guna kirtanadeva krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet. Simply chanting, coming in association of devotees. This is a very easy path. Simple, happy. At the same time, one has to be careful. Just because easy doesn't mean we become complacent. So this is very, very balanced with the scriptures have given us. A path by which if you are complacent, you know how to become alert. And if you're feeling discouraged because of too much strictness, then you need to. See, mainly, You need to study the scriptures and also take responsibility. Then you will be able to harmonize all of this. Most of these things are revealed from within. See, you simply studying scriptures will not help you understand this. Scriptures ka magic hai. It is revealed when we do seva. You know, one devotee was telling me once, Grahastha, Prabhu ji, आप इतना दिन भर scriptures पढ़ते हैं, पर आप में और मेरे में अंतर क्या है? बहुत फर्क है तेरी और मेरी तालीम में. तालीम मतलब education. He said, बहुत फर्क है तेरी और मेरी तालीम में. तूने उस्तादों से सीखा है, मैंने हालातों से. So you have to learn, you have to grow. See, you have to study scriptures also, and you have to also take responsibilities in your life. Do your duties like Lord Ram, Lakshman, Sita, Bharat. Perform duties and study scriptures. That will give you a good, that will give a good mixture of realizations, and it will help you resolve. There was one very famous psychologist. When he was a medical student in JJ Medical College, I used to go with Gauranga Prabhu. I used to take khichdi for him. And in every class, before the class ended, Prabhuji, that boy would ask questions, challenging questions, every class. Why is it like that? Why is it like that? And Prabhuji, Gauranga Prabhu would answer patiently. And one day Gauranga Prabhu said, अच्छा प्रभु सुनो, एक मिनट, क्वेश्चन बाद में आंसर करता हूँ. मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है. हमारा बरसाना में आई कैंप होता है every year. Why don't you go for I camp and do some seva this year? He said, okay, I will go. He went for that I camp, did seva of Brajvasis for 1 month. And after 1 month, he again came back. Again, the class continued. After the weekly class, any questions? And everybody looked at that boy. He had no questions. So Gauranga Prabhu said, अरे क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछ रहा है, सब आंसर हो गया. सेवा करके वो जो अंदर से ना स्वयं एव स्फुरत तदा, it's revealed. So many of these contradictions get resolved like that when we do seva. Is that okay? Because it has to be studied under Guru in a mood of service, and also knowing that for those who are afflicted, there is comfort, and for those who are comfortable, they are afflicted. Okay?
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Makes sense.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, we are very grateful to His Grace Vrajbihari Prabhu. This was a wonderful talk, and I'm sure this is a beginning for most of you who have come for first time. So I just would like to tell you that fortunately, Prabhuji has lot of talks on YouTube. There is a website called Yoga for Modern Age, and these are the books he has written. The first book is Are You Connected? So this book is very, very worthwhile reading. These are 25 keys to live, grow and succeed with self and others. So there are 2 sections, how to succeed with self and how to succeed with others. So if I go through the index, okay, there are 4 P's of mind management, and many interesting topics are there. So I would request all of you kindly go there. We have requested Vrajbihari to come down. He'll be there at the book counter. Go there. You can. These books are at discounted price today, so you can take his sign also. There's another book called Mind Your Mind. So there are 3 sections: how to be aware of ourselves, then how accept ourselves, and how aspire for the higher things. And third is lessons from the Lord. So please take these books, and you can also give these gifts to your friends also. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare.
So now few announcements. Next Prerana festival is on 17th of Feb, and it will be given by His Grace Nanda Dulal Prabhu. And now since the auspicious time is coming of Lord Ram coming there, so tomorrow morning we are very, very fortunate that His Holiness Indradyumna Swami Maharaj is giving Sunday feast lecture tomorrow morning. So morning you can come at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, and tomorrow evening 7:30 there is a Ram Katha by His Grace Shubvilas Prabhu. So please be there also. And announcements: today's Sabji Cutting Seva is performed by IVS devotees guided by Achyutanand Prabhu, Satyanand Prabhu and Sachisud Charan Prabhu. So 3 times Haribol for them. By the way, there is a very sweet Gajar Halwa, and these boys, they work very hard to make this Gajar Halwa and all the sabjis. Then today's evening Prerana services rendered by IVS devotees guided by Satyanand Prabhu and Vrajesh Krishna Prabhu. So let us also thank every volunteer by loudly chanting 3 times. Haribol, Haribol. And now we are going to have an ecstatic kirtan Please stand up and dance in circles. Hari Bol.